All right, everybody. Welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. All three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Gwendy's Final Task by Richard Chizmar and Stephen King. This is book number 3 in the Gwendy Button Box trilogy. I've already reviewed Gwendy's Button Box, and I've already reviewed Gwendy's Magic Feather, and now we are to book number 3, Gwendy's Final Task. And I will just be straight up honest with you. I enjoyed this trilogy a lot more than I thought I was going to. But let's talk about the covers first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. And each one of the covers was done by a great illustrator here by the name of Ben Baldwin. I really enjoyed each one of the covers. They all kind of look like they go together on the shelf nicely. They've all got the dark guy here in the dark bowler hat, and he plays an integral role in the story. But anyway, let us talk about the book in a little more depth. I did listen to the Audible.com version of this, narrated by Marin Ireland. I think the first two I listened to, well, I don't think I listened to them. I know for a fact I listened to them. I think that the narrator of these was someone named Maggie Siff, and who did a good job on the first two, and now Marin Ireland is doing this one. Oh, and another thing is I'm reviewing every single Stephen King book in order of publication. So the fact that we're to this Gwendy trilogy means we're pretty much nearing the end. I mean, because these came out in, when did these come out? I don't even know when these came out. But Stephen King started writing and publishing in 1977. And this one came out in 2022, so we're nearing the end of the Stephen King read-a-thon thingy I've been doing here. Anyway, this book starts out in the year 2020 in the midst of the COVID stuff. I just demonetized the whole video by saying that word. Damn it. Anyway, okay, now that we're demonetized anyway, I might as well just talk about that. Which is interesting considering the themes of this book. Every video that I've mentioned the disease that shall never be mentioned on YouTube, it gets demonetized. Now you're still gonna see ads on this video that YouTube will place on, but I just won't get paid for it. It is YouTube. But anyway, that's the way it works. There's about 100 different words you're not allowed to use on this platform. And I just used it, and I'm not going to edit it out. But anyway, I just won't make any money off this video. Not that I really make any money off these videos. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, okay, let's get to this. So, starts in 2022. Now, the book 1 started when Gwendy was a young girl, and she was given the button box, the magic button box, to her by the guy in the hat. And then we jump to when she's, I think, 37 in book 2, where she still has the button box, and the guy in the hat is still kind of in the back of her life, and the button box is still creating havoc. And now we have jumped to the year 2022, when she's a much older woman. She's a state senator now, and she is being sent into outer space. In fact, we actually meet her and the crew of the spaceship in the opening chapters. And it's kind of like, well, this SpaceX, it's not SpaceX. It's this other made-up sort of private company similar to SpaceX that is sending people into space, but they want to send a senator. They're also sending a really spoiled billionaire because he can afford it. And then we've got the regular astronaut crew of the spaceship, and we get to meet them all. I was not expecting this opening. Considering how the first 2 books went, I did not expect this to open up in a science fiction space exploration trip right out of the gate, where we get to meet the astronauts. It's a fun crew that we meet, and I enjoyed meeting them right out of the gate. And they go up into space. Now, Gwendy is a Democrat senator, and she is going into space specifically because she's gonna take the button box, this magic button box. And if you don't know what it is, I don't want to. It's just a magic button box that creates havoc throughout the world. And she wants to take it into outer space and just get rid of it. She thinks that's the only way that she can stop this evil box, is by taking it into outer space and throwing it into space, much like Frodo threw the One Ring into Mount Doom to destroy it. That's the only option she's got. And she's going to do it. And there's even references to the One Ring in this book. Sometimes the button box in itself is called the Precious. I mean, whoever comes in contact with this button box, and it is literally just a box with buttons on it, and you don't want to touch the buttons, but people are possessed with the box. It's like the One Ring possessed Frodo and Gollum. The button box comes to possess whoever has it, and she's gonna take it to space and get rid of it, which is crazy. And then I was thinking, all these other Stephen King novels that have all these other weird evil creatures and magic talismans and all this stuff should be taken to outer space too and just tossed. And then it would solve all of these books also. And much like it could, you get where I'm going, right? I mean, take Cujo into outer space. No more problem. Okay, anyway, she's on and then this thing turns into, the book itself turns into kind of this mashup between the Lord of the Rings and Alien, because we've got this spaceship and all these quirky characters on this spaceship, and it just turns into this twisted version of Lord of the Rings versus a kind of the Alien at the end, and I was not expecting it at all. But we also get some flashback scenes and it's is it a haunted spaceship in the end? I don't know. I'm not going to give away the end, but it's just crazy. I was completely unexpected and delighted with the direction that this book took. Now we get these flashback scenes, and there's quite a bit of them, where Gwendy flashbacks to her journey, the journey she took to become a senator. And this is where the book is going to turn off about half of the people that read it, because the authors, now Gwendy is a Democratic senator, so I understand she is going to have very liberal views, and she is going to see the world through this liberal lens, which is fine. I like that. And she thinks that Republicans are all stupid. Every Republican that shows up in this book that she has to kind of debate is a stereotypical just buffoon, and that is going to turn off a lot of readers. Especially when it comes to the fact that the book is set in the midst of the disease that shall not be mentioned. And we're talking about face coverings that shall not be mentioned, and how she is the noble one because all of her, crew, the people that are helping her to get elected wear their face coverings that shall not be mentioned. Meanwhile, all the Republicans and all of their rallies, nobody wears the face cover. And so the Republicans are clearly killing everybody by the disease that shall not be mentioned. But she and her noble people wearing the mask. I mean, it's just bludgeoned over. I mean, it is just being, the authors are bludgeoning you over the head with this, which I don't really care. I like it when characters act like real people, and that would be the exact way. I mean, that was the exact way that the world was back then. And I like that they pointed that out. Even though I think most readers, including me a little bit, they are using Gwendy as an avenue to sort of give their own opinions on what they think of conservatives. That's my opinion of what's happening here, which I don't even mind that, because I read a lot of Brad Thor and Jack Carr thrillers, and you can clearly see that they are very conservative, and they are using their novels as a vehicle to make liberals look, like buffoons, just like King and Chizmar are trying to make conservatives look like buffoons. And I think, as I've seen some of the comments of a lot of the people that have been following my reviews of this series, that's why a lot of people don't like the series, is because it does become political. That being said, I loved it. I loved it. I'm just giving you the warning that that's what you're in for. And I give the warning before I, in a Brad Thor novel or a Jack Carr novel or something like that. I tell people, yeah, this is a male. These books are male fantasy books, conservative male fantasy books. I mean, that's what they are. And this is a liberal male fantasy, not even a liberal. It's a feminist fantasy book. You know what I'm saying. This video is going to be it might not even air. I've said so many of the buzzwords in this video that YouTube doesn't like that it just might be swiped off the channel entirely. That happened. It happened in my original review of The Stand. I mentioned the Captain Trips and compared it to Captain Trips as the disease in The Stand that wipes out the population, and I compared that to our modern day disease that shall not be mentioned too many times, and YouTube just literally yeeted my video right off the platform. So I had to refilm it and not mention the disease that shall not be mentioned at all. But I've already mentioned it in this video. Well, I'm actually curious to see. I'm actually curious to see what happens. Anyway, I like this. I give it an 8 out of 10. This was a really cool book in my opinion, despite all my babble, that I just babbled.